We're going to see if I am live or not by coming here. So I don't know if y'all can hear me or see me. Ooh, I think we're there. I think we may be finally live. Yes, perhaps. I think so. I think we're live. And I think there's like a delay maybe. I don't know. I don't know. There might be a delay. So we're gonna keep streaming here and check the resolution, it says. That's fine. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So hi guys. I'm back. It's been a while. I really hope this is working, and if not, then I guess it doesn't work. I pulled out my laptop because it said that we could do lives from a computer, but this laptop is super old, and I'm a little old, so we'll see how this works out. But a couple things. So I thought we would chat a little bit about how to eat keto on vacation, but also I thought we would make some tortillas. So I found this recipe. It's actually from powerhungry.com. It's not my recipe, and I actually do make it exactly the way they make it. It's really delicious, and it's pretty low carb. Anytime you're eating tortillas, you're going to have added carbs, obviously, so it's not zero carbs. But depending on how many shells you use, it'll be anywhere from 9 carbs to about 4.5, 5 carbs per shell. So I'm going to try to switch this around so you can see my stuff. Let's see here. You can adjust. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So here we have our bowl. And I am using a scale to measure. And we are going to sift. So I'll come sit down here so you can see me a little bit here. And we've got... This is just some coconut flour, and you can see I don't use it that much because there's like big old bowls of it. So we're going to make a double batch of this recipe. I'll link the recipe later on after the video so you guys can go check it out. But we're going to do specific grams, and kind of like Wes at High Falutin Low Carb, I'm not going to give you the exact measurements because it's not my recipe. You need to go over to them to check it out. And also, like West, it's so important to sift, 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 sift. So we're going to get all of that out there. And like I said, I got lots of big old balls. How you guys doing? I know it's been like over a year since I've recorded because they quit allowing me to do live streams. And I don't have time to edit videos. Look at me. I look like a hot mess. But I was like, you know, if I'm waiting for the perfect day where I look nice and everything is peachy, I'm never going to get back on YouTube. So here we are. So hopefully you guys are happy with this. So we've got the coconut flour. Next we're going to add some psyllium husk powder. And we're going to sift that as well. I don't think it, I mean, psyllium husk powder is pretty sifted. I'm not too worried about it, but we already have our little sifter out. So, you know, let's use what we got. And then I like to add some salt as well, which the recipe does say to add salt, but it's optional. But I am going to go ahead and just put some in there. And there we go. So now we have our items. So there we go. So we've got the coconut flour. I'll show you guys. psyllium husk powder, and salt. So we're just going to mix this. You guys are going to love how easy this is. I am cheating today. I got a new toy called a tortilla press, which I am super excited about. So we're going to use that today. And then once we have that all integrated, we're going to go ahead and pour water in. So you do want to kind of put it in a little at a time. You don't want to overdo it. You guys probably know, if you've been keto for a while, that both psyllium husk powder and coconut is super, super absorbent. If you're new, then you probably don't know that, but it is. It's like mega, super mega absorbent. And it will continue to absorb long after you're done, but I don't want to over water the tortillas. So I want to make sure that they are just the right consistency. So, and then I'll keep, because I don't want them to be too moist. So I typically just add a little bit at a time. And then I'll actually let this rest as well. But I still don't want to, which will make it absorb the rest of the way. So it should definitely not be super dry and flaky yet. You want it to be a little damp still as you let it rest, and then it will absorb the rest of the water. I think we're just about there actually. And I know I just disregarded the spatula. We're just getting in there with the fingers. Hopefully that doesn't offend you. My hands are pretty clean. I wash them like 8 million times a day. So we are good, especially today because I did meal prep today. So lots of hand washing. All right, that is good. So didn't quite use all of the prescribed water. And then I'm going to just kind of ball this up. And let it be for a second. So while that's thinking about being dough, so we'll leave it here for just a minute. I'll catch you guys up. It's been over a year since I've been on here. And last time I was on here, my sister had just moved in, I think. So she moved out about 6 months after she moved in. My son moved back after the school year, but he's now moving back out next month. So we'll be empty nesters again. You'll probably hear him a little bit in the background. Possibly he's playing games on his computer, so he gets very involved. And there's Winnie. Winnie, you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. Oh, there she is. Oh, look at her. Look how cute she is. Oh, she. Hi. Hi. Oh, you're growling at the neighbors. Winnie's good. She's fantastic. But my daughter got married, so that was a very exciting event. I quit my second job, but now I just started school this week. So I'm going for my bachelor's and in nutrition. So I want to be a nutritionist so that I can help people feel good and enjoy their food and do all the things that we're supposed to do by just eating the right kind of food for our bodies. So that's what's been going on. But I also want to talk about the vacation we went on, which is why I want to talk about, what to eat while you're on vacation. So we went to Turkey and to Greece. I'm going to just divide up this balls. So I made a double batch. So I'm going to make at least 8 tortillas. I may make 16. Sometimes I like little smaller tortillas. And, like the little street taco size. Those are kind of fun sometimes. And then they're not as carby too. So I may do that. So I'm literally just dividing up the balls basically. So I halved it, and then you're just going through and halving everything. And I'm just making little balls of dough, and that's what we're going to use to make our tortillas with. We'll turn on the griddle here in a second too. So as you can see, I did it in half, and then I went in half again. And then I could go in half one more time. And that'll make the little tiny street taco shells, which I really enjoy having those sometimes. I had some, we called it Mexican breakfast growing up. That's what my mom always called it. I don't know if it's called something else, but basically you just take Italian sausage and eggs. Well, you cook the sausage most of the way through, and then you add the egg, and you serve it on a tortilla with salsa. So I actually had that the other day, yesterday. It was so good. So let's see how many I have here. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yes, okay, perfect. So I think that's right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I think I miscounted. I think one of these isn't. Yeah, I think one of these is not in half. But that's okay. All right, so that's with the gap there. That's kind of what happens when you're talking and counting at the same time, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get our parchment. And you could definitely do this with just a rolling pin, whatever. I am going to use a tortilla press. I bought this on Amazon for $50. I bought the 10-inch one, but I have to say now, knowing what I know, I could have gone with the smaller one, which was only like $35, because the tortillas that I make, doesn't matter how much batter I put on them, it doesn't, the keto tortillas don't seem to want to get big. So they'll just be thick, thicker, even though I smash them, so whatever. So we're going to take the big old tortilla ball, and this is going to go super fast. Let's see, I got some psyllium husk powder on the outside, but that's okay. And there you'll see a cute little tortilla. So we'll just get a bunch of these ready while the griddle heats up, and it won't take too long. So like I was saying, last year we went to Turkey and Greece, and it was absolutely, Turkey is amazing. We stopped in Istanbul first. We were there for 2 days. Literally just so mind-boggling, beautiful, and amazing, and so different than what I thought it would be. It was just amazing there. The food in Turkey was very difficult to maneuver. They're definitely, the area that we were in was very plant-based. So they ate a lot of rice and grains of some kind. So that was, you had to be very careful. Basically, they would have these big old breakfast buffets, which is one of the pictures on the thumbnail that I took. That was a breakfast we had in Cappadocia, or Cappadocia, depending on who you ask or what their dialect is. So they would have eggs and cheese and just different kinds of meats out that you could choose from, and even salad. You can see that picture. There's like a salad, a caprese salad. They had that. So they had tomatoes all the time, cucumbers pretty much all the time, and you could eat those. But then at lunch, it was a lot of like casserole-y type things, or a lot of different foods wrapped in grape leaves, which the grape leaves are good, but the problem is it usually had some kind of rice or something inside of it. They love honey. I think in that picture you can actually see a honeycomb. They tend to serve honeycombs whole, like you just eat the whole honeycomb. So that wasn't something I would do. It was kind of funny, when we went to the market, a lot of times the vendors would come out and they try to get you to eat their candy, and they'd be like, here, it's sugar-free. And yeah, it was sugar free because it didn't have like white sugar in it, but it did have honey in it. They were big on sweetening their beverages and foods with honey. Hospitality was amazing. I definitely recommend if you travel to a foreign country and you don't plan on totally jumping off the wagon and just, eating whatever's there, have somebody with you that will eat whatever's there. So my daughter and I, who were both keto, and we didn't eat exactly keto macros the whole time we were gone, but all the foods we ate were keto foods. So we didn't eat a bunch of the fruit. We ate a little bit of the fruit. And we didn't eat the candies and the desserts and all the things that they would bring out. So you practically have to take them, though. I mean, they don't really give you an option to say no. It would be really rude to just blatantly be like, no, I don't want that. Because they're so sweet and they're just very hospitable. So my son and my husband, mostly my son, got fed all of the things. Like even we went into a shop that sold candies, chocolates, and stuff. My husband wanted to buy some chocolates for his mom to bring home, and literally we were in the shop for like 2 minutes, and they bring over this tray full of drinks, and the drinks were, it's kind of like an apple cider. It's apple tea, but it's sweet. It's a sweet tea. They put a ton of honey in it, so it's not something, Chantel and I wanted to just guzzle a bunch of sugar. So we were constantly just grabbing things and handing them to my son, and he would drink them kind of behind the back of the market person. So it was a little difficult sometimes. I might have needed to use a little bit more oil on this griddle. Maybe not. Maybe I'm okay. So they look a lot like corn tortillas, but they have the texture of flour tortillas, especially when they're the little tacos like this. Which, like I said, I think they're so fun, these tortillas. It makes me feel like I'm having some tacos from a food truck when I eat off these little tiny tacos. Then you can use them for breakfast burritos. You can use them for fajitas, tacos, anything you want to wrap food in, really, which you can pretty much put anything in there. Meat, cheese, lettuce, whatever you feel like. They have a pretty good flavor, as in that it's very bland. There's not a real intense flavor to them, just like regular tortillas that don't have, when you taste a tortilla, you're not like, oh wow, I can really taste this tortilla while I'm eating this taco or the fajita or whatever. It's really just kind of a transportation for this yummy, flavorful food that you're putting in. And we can use lettuce wraps as well, and I definitely do use lettuce wraps. I like the butter lettuce. The best to do lettuce wraps with. But sometimes, you just kind of want an actual tortilla. So I actually made my husband breakfast burritos this week. So I made him a bunch of tortillas. I do a little bit different recipe for his because he's not keto, so he's got more carbs. There's a really good recipe that's, I think, tastes as good, if not better, than actual regular white flour tortillas that I make for him. So I'll show you what these look like here in just a second. I'm going to keep the train moving, so we're going to get the next batch on. And this is just avocado oil. You could use coconut, you could use olive oil. Really doesn't matter too much. Listen to that sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Shizzle. Yeah, you totally watch this to listen to me sing, right? That's 100% why you're here. Keto tortillas are delicious. So exciting. These freeze really well. That's actually what I do is I'll make a big batch like this. And then I freeze them. I freeze them in like packs of 2, so I can just grab them out of the freezer. You can see, oh, look at that steam coming off. Ooh. But they are great. And you can see they fold super well. They're very flexible and they smell good. I'm just going to take a little bite to show you, but I need to eat a plain tortilla. I guess they're kind of between a flour tortilla and a corn tortilla in taste. I definitely think if you're missing corn tortillas, you could probably sub out a little bit of the coconut flour for flaxseed and use ground flaxseed for sure. But just sub a little bit of that out because flaxseed has kind of that more gritty texture. And I bet that would be just like sweet taco shells. Because then it would give it that kind of corn type of texture. All right. But anyway, so turkey, I packed a bunch of F-bombs, which you guys, if you watch my channel ever, you know I don't really eat a lot of the processed treats and goodies and snacks. I'm not a big bar eater by any chance, but because of the trip, we did take some keto bars. They're not the actual name keto bars, but they were like a think thin bar type thing. I can't remember the ones we took, but they were something like that. I didn't really eat very many of those. I didn't really like them that much, but they were great to have for the family. Even, you know, because even my son and husband, who was eating everything, sometimes they get hungry because we'd be out all day. We'd eat really good in the morning, and then we'd be out hiking almost all day. We would get home back to the hotel like 2 or 3 or sometimes before we even had lunch. So it was a lot of exertion and they'd get hungry. So those are nice to have. But the F-bombs were huge. Like, and if you don't know what F-bomb is, it's basically just a nut butter with some, I think they might have some more added coconut oil to them. Really yummy. They have lots of different flavors. I really like the chocolate pecan, I think, or it's chocolate macadamia. It might be chocolate macadamia. That's my favorite flavor. It's really good. It's like a dessert. Those were very yummy. And then we took Nick sticks. So, and I was really glad because getting protein in turkey was very difficult. Breakfast was fine because they had eggs and the meats and stuff. So we ate a lot of hard-boiled eggs. But at lunchtime, so often the meals were vegetarian. So we did manage to find, you know, like grills and stuff. One day we went to a place that had a whole bunch of just grilled meat. And my daughter and I just like ate so much meat because it was like day 4, I think. we were really ready for some good protein by that point. But yeah, it was really good. It was definitely possible. We didn't go off the rails. When we left, I weighed 159, and when we came back, I weighed 163. So really not bad at all. Like I said, we did try some of the fruit there. There's tons and tons of fresh fruit. So we went on this one hike in a canyon in Turkey, and then in part of the canyon at the bottom were these groves of apricot trees, just wild. Like nobody was tending them or anything; they just grew there. So my daughter and I each had an apricot, which actually can be very keto. It's not super high carb. So you could definitely fit it in your day, especially in the summertime. You're just dying for some fruit. I think you can get an apricot in pretty good. But they were so good, like just unbelievably delicious. Then we went to Greece. I don't recommend going to Athens or the islands. We weren't in Athens very long, and I was very happy that we weren't in Athens too long. It's super crowded and dirty, honestly. Like, it's just not I wasn't impressed. Greece was the place we were excited to go. Turkey was the place that my stepmom wanted to go. So I was very glad that she wanted to go there because Turkey was way better. The people were nicer, everything. But the food was better in Greece. A lot of the food was very similar to the U.S. as far as options goes, which means that I did notice that, like the U.S., there was a lot more obese people because they weren't eating traditional food, what they would normally, So had a millennia ago or whatever, they had a lot of just kind of Americanized options, but they did have some traditional options, like they had whole milk yogurt on the breakfast bar, which was really delicious. Oh my goodness, that was so good. We put some walnuts in it. That was super yummy. Yeah, and they had some seafood options that we did try, especially on the islands. I think in Mykonos is where we had this one fish entree that was just super yummy. I can't remember the name of it now, but it wasn't a fish I've ever had before. I'll have to look it up and tell you guys, but that was really good as far as goes. So once we got to Greece, there was more protein available at each meal, and it was also more relaxed because we weren't hiking and like going and seeing the sights. We went on a few tours and stuff, but it was very different than the Turkey trip, where we were just gone almost all day, seeing new places and whatnot. In Greece, it was more laid back. There was days where we were just basically, for days at the beach or something like that. But it was kind of needed because that was towards the end of the vacation. We were gone for 17 days, and it was 36 hours of travel each way. I might be wrong. It might have been 24 the first trip, but it was 36 hours on the way back. Yeah, 36 hours. So it was a long trip. And so that also brings up food in the airlines. So I thought we would just get the gluten-free options on in the airplane, because you're in the airplane for so many hours. But I don't recommend that because the food that they gave me was basically like rice cakes. It was just gross. A block of like processed American cheese. Hardly any meat. It was just, and apparently because the gluten-free is also like a vegetarian option or something. I don't know. It was gross though. On the way back, we didn't change anything. We didn't actually ask for a special food. We just got the regular food, and I could eat more of that than I could when I did the gluten-free. So like we had a sandwich where I could just take the meat and cheese out and eat the sandwich, eat that, and I gave the bread to my son. And then they had vegetables, carrots and cucumbers and that kind of stuff on the side. But definitely plan ahead. That's kind of the biggest thing, especially if you're traveling to an unknown area, somewhere you've never been before. Do your research. I looked up a lot of information on what the diets were of those regions that we were going to. So I wasn't surprised when I got there that I couldn't eat very much of turkey. I literally told him, like, yeah, we're probably not, we're going to have a shish kebab sometime. That's going to be good. But for the most part, we're not going to get a lot of protein or really have a lot of food options in Turkey. But again, that was why I packed the Nick sticks, the F-bombs, the little bar things, so that we had something to hold us over. And then when we got to Greece, it was fine. We pretty much used up all of the food once we got to Greece, and that was okay because once we were there, we had more food options for what we could eat. And that's specific to me too. It doesn't mean that, maybe you are a type of person that when you go on vacation, you go ahead and just eat whatever is there and it's cultural, and that's great if you can do that. I have a food addiction and I have issues with sugar. So for me, it's not really a good option. I don't want to feel yucky when I leave, and I don't want to kick in any of my food addictions or cravings while I'm on vacation. I want to feel good. You know, we were going to leave Turkey and head to Greece and be wearing swimsuits and stuff pretty much the whole time because it's nice and beautiful and you're going to the beach all the time. So I didn't want to be like all puffy and gross feeling when I went to the beach. It was a good time. So that was fantastic. I had a lovely time with my family. I'm really glad we ended up going when we did, especially after this year. We wouldn't have been able to go if we would have waited one more year. So we got out of the country when it was still safe to do so. But yeah, and this is our tortillas. Yay! So see, we made quite a few. They're different sizes. They're not all exact. That's okay. So you can have, what I'll do is I'll kind of match them up in the package so that if you want to do a quesadilla especially, that's important because but I also have to do is count out how many I have here, and then I can add it to my app and know exactly how many carbs and whatnot is in each item. But these small ones, or these ones probably in general, are probably pretty sure these are the 4.5 carbs per tortilla. So very easy to get into your diet. Even if you just took one, you know, it depends on how many other vegetables and other things you want to have. I don't do a lot of keto type products. Most of my food is just the way it was. You know, I eat a lot of meat and veggies and standard stuff, but this is a good option for you guys. Anyway, I hope this recording actually worked. Let me know if it didn't.